Hello, range fans and reloaders on the reloadersnetwork.com. Mr.Revolverguy coming to you from the reloading lair. Well, what else is there better to do on a rainy, gloomy day where you can't get out to the range? I guess I could go out and train in some cold, wet weather, but I've decided against that. I've done that enough for my day. Always good practice, but I'm using better judgment today. So what else is there better to do than to reload some 6.5 Creedmoor and Hornady brass? I don't know that it'll focus, maybe not. But 6.5 Creedmoor and Hornady brass with large pistol primer. As you can see, I'm sorry, that's a large rifle primer, folks. And as you can see here, I got the RCBS Summit Press mounted to an inline fabrication bracket. And it's also the removable bracket because I have an RCBS rock chucker that I have specifically set up for 308 that I will swap out when needed to. But enough chatter. Let's get to reloading some 6.5 Creedmoor. We're going to go through the depriming process first. By the way, this brass has been lubed already with a little bit of Hornady One Shot. I kind of like this lube. I've had it for a really long time, but it does pretty well for me. I do have this die, which is a Hornady die, set up to bump the shoulder back exactly 3 thousandths. That's where I want it. It's not overworking the brass and shoots well in my rifle when I do that. So I'm bumping the shoulder back exactly 3 thousandths is how I have my die set up. And also with, I've got a Hornady case holder there. On this, I'm not sure you can see it in the camera, but on this RCBS Summit Press, I actually have a, let's see here. Let's see, this is going to be really shaky, folks, but bear with me. I've got right there on this RCBS Summit an aluminum primer catch. It comes with the plastic primer catch. I didn't care for it too much. I got an aluminum primer catch off of eBay with a 3/8 inch tube inside diameter going down to a little bottle cap. It's drilled a hole in the top of the bottle cap, and it's going down into a soda bottle, if you would, or a pop bottle. I've got a load which you guys have seen in a previous video of me shooting the 6.5 Creedmoor load with Reloader 15. I call it a short to medium range load for this particular caliber. For me, that's 100 to 300 yards on anything. And so I had some Lapua 108 grain boat tail hollow points. Really old box I've had around for quite some time. I've got about 25 of those left, and I'm going to reload them with the load that I worked up that you all saw on the previous video on the Reloaders Network. Rifle pretty much likes that load. I believe it was 40 grains of Reloader 15, but make sure you guys double check that with your loading manual. So that's what we're going to do today on this gloomy, rainy day. After depriming 25 cases, we're going to wipe the lube off with a microfiber cloth, and we're going to move to priming the cases as well as trimming, chamfering, and deburring the cases. So let me knock out these 25 cases and I'll show you my case prep station, which I think is pretty unique. I don't think there's many of them out there. Well, there's probably quite a few out there, but not many has been seen on YouTube or the Reloaders Network. So let's knock that out and move over to the trimming station. All right, guys, so I moved over to the case prep side of my bench, and I'll give you a quick rundown. It's a little messy, but it is very, very functional. I have an industrial strength trimmer, as you can see here. You probably won't see many of these on YouTube, though I know that there are many of them out there. And if you'd like one, it is from CTS Trimmers. I can give you the contact information, and he'll be more than happy to help you out with building this industrial strength trimmer. Let's turn it on and see how noisy it is compared to some of the other trimmers. I don't know if you can hear that or not through the camera. I think you can, but it's really not all that noisy. And then I have my chamfer deburr station here with also primer pocket cleaners for large and small in the trimming station. That also came from CTS Trimmers. Again, hit me up if you're interested, and I can point you to the guy that makes this industrial strength like trimming gear. Let's turn the... All right, there we go. We got all 4 stations going at once. Take this old nasty green microfiber cloth. Does a pretty good job of getting the lube off. You can see how dirty the primer pocket is. You can see how dirty that primer pocket is there. And we're going to do some trimming. Pretty quick. Chamfering and deburring. Then we're going to clean the primer pocket. And that's all she wrote, folks. You can see now what that primer pocket looks like. Sometimes I will use this Hornady station with just one screwed in, and that is for the inside of the primer pocket. And I don't know that it makes a whole lot of difference. I have a really close friend of mine, Lou, who says it does make a lot of difference. But neither here nor there. I've already performed that step. You only need to do it once on this brass, as this is the second time I'm reloading this brass. And as you can see here, I have an RCBS bench primer that pops those primers right in there. The primers that I'm using for the 6.5 Creedmoor load is Tula primers, and they are the large rifle primers. So we'll run through a few, show you how quick this can be for me. It just, when I got this industrial strength priming gear, man, I'm sorry, not priming gear, but trimming gear from CTS Trimmers, I was tickled to death to get it, because I will tell you, was a tedious thing for me using a drill before, and not saying that any of the other stuff is bad at all. It's not, and it served me well. But when I got this set up here to see how quick it goes, man, I was just really, really happy. So let's shut up and run through a few rounds and see how quick it goes. You can tell also when this thing stops trimming, it just stops cutting pretty much. Lube off, trim, chamfer, deburr, clean the primer pocket, and prime. I try to cut as many steps as I can out, or not necessarily cut as many steps out, but I try to only handle the brass once when I'm on this side. I've tried many different ways and found this, for me, to be the most proficient way. You might find something a little bit different. This is all Hornady brass, by the way. Uh-oh, getting a phone call, folks. Sorry about that. That can wait. Actually looked like a cold call. These politicians calling and asking you for your support is really starting to get under my skin a little bit, especially since I didn't give them permission to contact me. I will do my civic duty and get out and vote. That is for sure. So if any of you politicians are out there watching, you don't have to contact Mr. Revolverguy on his cell phone day, night, at work, in meetings. I really wish that would stop, guys. And it seems like if you ask them to unsubscribe you, it only gets worse. So we're gonna get this going for the rest of the brass that I need to load up that Lapua ammo. Gonna get it primed, get the powder in, seat the bullets, and go from there. So stay tuned as we go over to the powder charging station. All right, reloaders, we're over here at the case charging station. You can see one of my charges is the RCBS Charge Master 1500. I've had this for quite a number of years now, and it's held up pretty well. But behind it over here, I also have a Lyman Gen 6. I found that the Lyman Gen 6 is a little less accurate than the RCBS Charge Master, but I'm talking 1/10 of a grain, folks. So I also have my RCBS 505 scale is what I'm using today. I have a couple of other scales, digital and balance beam scales that I will use, and I've got Reloader 15 loaded up in both. I'm going to show you a quick program, or take some snapshots of a quick program I call Quick Load, and also a spreadsheet from Christopher Long, who kind of points out and gives some details on how to come up with accuracy nodes by using his spreadsheet along with the quick load formula. And I found it to be pretty accurate, at least in 6.5 Creedmoor and also 308. I will say in 223, I've not had that much luck with it. Your luck may vary. So I'm going to program both for the same exact charge and start spitting it out there. And I usually, reloaders, I usually will weigh the first and then every 5 rounds from both the RCBS Charge Master. It's done. I have zeroed out my balance beam scale there. Put it back on, you'll see that it zeroes itself out and starts right back up. Man, that's spot on, according to the balance beam scale at least. Take that, dump that in there. And then this is from the Lyman, and it has an auto repeat function as well. And the Lyman is spot on. So from there, I'm going to throw these charges and keep moving. This has allowed me to really speed up the process of loading these cases. I have reprogram my RCBS Charge Master to be a little bit more quicker than it is from the factory, and I noticed it will throw about 1.5 loads faster than the Lyman. I have not figured out a way or found a way to program the Lyman to be any faster. But as you can see, it makes this part of the exercise or this part of reloading not as tedious. Again, I'm going for accuracy. I do have a Uniflow powder thrower that I could use, but it tends to cut the granules of Reloader 15, so I'm using my electronic devices today. Lyman's done. Now, next I will weigh both of these rounds again, or both of the powders coming off of these powder throwers, powder chargers. Take it over here. And look at that. Spot on, guys, spot on. So today, since it was so gloomy out, this is just me showing you a little bit of my reloading process when reloading 6.5 Creedmoor. My 308 process looks just about the same. Now see, the Lyman seems like it threw a little bit light that time, so I'm gonna return that powder and not use that throw. Got to take an old dryer sheet to this powder funnel. Got a little static. Usually I will take a dryer sheet to it, and that takes care of it, guys. A little old dryer sheet. Don't use any of your wives' new ones. All right, the Lyman seems like it threw pretty much good there. Yeah, what I'm doing there, guys, is trying to get the, phone's ringing again, trying to get the static out of there. So there you have it. That's a little bit of my reloading scheme or charging and how I do it. I'll do the rest of these and we'll go on to seat the bullets and show you the rest and wrap it up. And at some point, when it's not so rainy and gloomy out, we'll get out to the range and shoot these through the rifle and hopefully get some small groups. All right, we're back over at the RCBS Rock Chucker, and I've put my Reading Competition Series die. As you can see with micrometer in here, it makes it really, really easy. So, of course, like most reloaders, I have a logbook with a ton of details in it. One of those details is for the exact bullet that I'm using, along with the cases that I'm using and the trim length for those cases, that allows me to set the mic here to the exact length that I want. So pretty simple. They've all been charged, and I double check the case to make sure, again, that everything looks right. And there you have it. You seat the bullet. I do not do any crimping, and I know, folks, that's a long debate. So this is at 2789, and I'm shooting for 2790. So close enough for government work, right? So I don't crimp, and I know that that is, debatable. I can tell pretty much by seating the bullet. That one came out at 2790. I can pretty much geez almighty. I can pretty much tell by setting, there we go, what the case retention on the bullet looks like or feels like. I can pretty much tell by feel on how they're being seated. And if one seems loose or not, then I might crimp a little bit. But initially, my die is not set to crimp at all. With part of this Reading competition series, I do have a taper crimp die specifically for 6.5, but I don't use it unless one feels the case neck tension feels really, really loose to me. But we're going to knock these out. I wanted to go ahead and use up, since I have a really good load of these Lapua 108s. Again, to me, I know there's so many people that shoot 6.5 Creedmoor for long range, 1,000 yards, even some beyond 1,000 yards. I've got to travel quite a distance, which is unfortunate to get to 1,000-yard range. But I do have access to the medium distance ranges, 100, 200, and 300, that's not too far away, that I utilize. And so this particular round, the 108 Lapua, is pretty much my medium distance round. Anything over 300 yards, then I crank out the 140s, the 142s, and the 147s. I have not tried the Sierra 150s just yet. If you guys have had any luck out there, reloaders from the Reloaders Network, on loading up Sierra 150s and getting decent accuracy out of them, give me a shout. Let me know what you think of them. Only got 2 more rounds to go here out of this bunch. I do have some 108s on order. This is the last one. All right, so until I get some more Lapua 108s on order, that's going to be it for today. But I thought I'd bring the Reloaders Network along with me at my reloading bench to show you what kind of first mess I have here. And then 2, it is a working bench, folks. I reload just about every caliber I shoot for. That's pistol and also rifle. I don't reload for shotgun. I don't shoot shotgun enough to reload for that. But that's a little bit of my process. Tell me what you think about my process, and I will see you around on the Reloaders Network. Mr.Revolverguy, dayattherange.com. Reloaders. I mentioned 2 additional components early on in the video that assist me in coming up with accurate nodes without, quite honestly, a lot of shooting and burning up components. One is the quick load software that you see here, and then the other is the Christopher Long spreadsheet that pretty much lists out barrel optimum time. This could go on forever, but I'm going to keep it short. What is essential is that you have the exact components for quick load, and also that you do an H2O case capacity measurement and plug that in to quick load as well. There's one other component, is shooting some loads across the chronograph to understand the burning values of your powder that can be programmed in the quick load. With that and the Christopher Long spreadsheet, you could come out with some pretty accurate nodes without burning up a lot of components. Now, having said that, it works great in the rifle category, and I found works so-so, this formula works so-so for pistol. It really was designed for long-range shooting. But there you have it. Mr.Revolverguy and everything that I use to reload with. Again, it's a hobby, it's relaxing, gets me away from the day-to-day grind, and just flat-out fun. Join me on the Reloaders Network and at dayattherange.com. Mr.Revolverguy, dayattherange.com.